Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, folks. We have a special edition up tonight. This is of the Dock Talk Show coming at you here in a second. This is all about the All-American Kayak Series, specifically the Lake of the Ozark event coming up here right at the beginning of April. Stick with us here. Let's go ahead and get the Dock Talk fired up. And welcome to another edition of the TPO Dock Talk Podcast. What's happening, All-American Kayak Series country? Man, we have got a very, very cool show for you. We're going to talk Lake of the Ozarks tonight here. And we are bringing in basically one of the premier guide service in the entire area down there. It's a big body of water, folks. There's no doubt about it. And it can be a little overwhelming to some folks maybe trying to figure out where they want to go and what they want to do. So we figured what better than to go to some of the experts in that local area. Man, before we get going too much further, if you're on the fence about the All-American, if you're not sure you want to get in there, maybe this will help you out. Take a watch. AllAmericanKayakSeries.com. Go get signed up. Do not wait, man. This is going to be an awesome 2024 season. Bucket list locations. Some of the best people out there. I love the anglers that fish this series. Going to be an awesome, awesome time. All right. So let's get down to it, man. When I'm looking around Lake of the Ozarks, it's a big body of water. There's a lot of towns involved. There's a lot of water involved. I think if memory serves, the shoreline there is something ridiculous high number of miles. I want to say Truman has like more shoreline than the state of California, and I bet you Lake of the Ozarks has got to be real close to it, if not the same, maybe more. It's a lot of water up there. So we wanted to find somebody to help us just kind of break down these areas and give you guys an idea. So we went and found pretty much the best in the business out there. We have with us Mr. James Dill. Let's go ahead and bring him into the show here of James Dill Guide Service. James, how the heck are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing real good. How are you guys?
You know, man, we are getting stoked. This awesome weather that's hitting everybody, man. It's got us cleaning up the rods and reels, got everything ready to go. For a few of us out here that are stuck in the winter wonderland, I'm loving seeing this snow melt, man. This is exciting.
Where are you actually located?
So I'm technically in Colorado, man, and I was actually able to get my kayak out this weekend and go fishing. We had some clear ponds, man. It's looking good.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. We're out today. Obviously, we're upper 40 degrees already. Mid to upper 40s. So we're really moving along already for the spring.
Yeah, man. It's it has me wondering. We were really excited about when we saw on the schedule on the April 6th and 7th. We're going to be at Lake of the Ozarks Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, we're going to get in right before the big bash goes off. And we're thinking, we should be hitting this thing just right when there's some chewing, but who knows? It's you can never tell with, maybe we get another cool down. It's, what do you think? Beginning of April, is that good timing?
Oh, absolutely. We're already, we just had a full moon here and a lot of fish moved up, so by April, you've got a whole nother month and a couple weeks. You're going to hit it perfect.
Nice.
You're going to have spawners already. You're going to have a lot of pre-spawners. Most of them will be pre-spawned, but you'll have a lot already spawning. And there'll be so many different techniques you guys can do. I mean, it's wide open from on any of the arms on this lake. I mean, you can stick the main lake and work on those pre-spawners, or you can run up one of these river arms and work on some of these that are already spawned up in their spawning.
Right. And that's one of the cool things with Lake of the Ozarks I've always loved about it is just the diversity that body of water offers. Let's talk a little bit about the guide service here, man. James Dill Guide Service. Now, am I understanding this? Do you run this with your son? Is that correct?
No, my wife.
You and your wife. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's actually James and Denise Dill Guide Service. We both, we each have boats, and we guide 12 months a year down here for both bass and crappies. Pretty much what we stick to.
That's awesome, man. How power fishing couple 101. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
really do.
When did you start guiding out there at Lake of the Ozarks?
I've been guiding for about 11 years now. Yep. 11, 12 years. Mm-hmm.
Have you, did you grow up around the area or?
What's that? No, I actually grew up in St. Louis, believe it or not.
Okay.
And we've been full-time residents at Lake of the Ozarks for a little over 20 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is the right move. Get out of the city. Get down there.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's the best move we ever made. Was coming down here. Obviously, it was a big move. Both career, just all of it. But we've never regretted any of it.
I do a lot of driving each year, man. I drive around the country, and I will tell you this: I've stayed in the St. Louis area 2 times. And that's, I think, one too many. From now on, I have a golden rule. It's like, nope, it's either 50 miles before or 50 after. Right, exactly. I'm getting through that place.
It's like when you're traveling, you're looking for a hotel. You're 50 miles before, 50 miles after the city.
Yep, I've got a no-fly zone written right around there. Exactly. It's like, drink more coffee and just push on through, man.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, where are you at as far as your guide service there? Which town? There's a lot of towns around Lake of the Ozarks.
Right. We are actually located in Sunrise Beach.
Oh, okay.
The way this lake lays, we're pretty much in the middle. We're 3 miles to a ramp. That's the 12-mile marker. And we're 3 miles to a ramp that's a 35-mile marker. And we can be anywhere on the entire lake in less than 45 minutes.
Oh, man.
So that's even Truman, at below Truman Dam up there at Drake Harbor, way up the river arm. That's about 45 minutes. We can be to PB2 in 30 minutes, so anywhere on the lake in less than an hour.
Tell you what, bucket list item right there. I gotta up my game on convincing the wife this is where we need to move.
There you go.
It's so when I first got introduced to Lake of the Ozarks area, man, I was coming out of Minnesota. I had fished up north there for quite a bit. I wanted to come down and duke it out with the big guns down there, and that's legendary water. Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock. I mean, it's Ozark country, right? So I came down there, and I got to tell you, from the first trip, I fell in love with Missouri. I fell in love with the area, and just there's something about it when I hit that state line, man. I just feel home, and it's so beautiful down there. I'm so jealous of you guys, man. That Sunrise Beach is a perfect location. Right,
it is
dead center.
For anything. We've got so much to offer down here too. Is what's neat about the Ozarks. And we've got a lot of our guide trips. Obviously, are people from out of state. And believe it or not, we get a lot from Colorado. For some reason, we get a lot from Colorado.
Dude, you guys are green out there. People don't understand really what the real Colorado looks like. It's either concrete or it's brown. That's our, we do have mountains, but they're way that way. And, you literally, Rocky Mountain National Park, just to drive through it, to give you an idea of how crowded we are up here, just to drive through the park, you have to get reservations now.
Is that right?
It's crazy, man. There's so many people have come into our state, and the entire eastern section of our state is just flatland. It's desert.
Wow.
And so there's only so much you can do on that I-25 corridor. So yeah, that makes sense to me that people from Colorado want to come out there in the green, beautiful, gorgeous waters.
And what ends up happening is they come out here and vacation, and then they move, here to the lake. We've had such a big influx of full-time residents here since since the last 3 years probably. Just we've really exploded down here.
That's hopefully it stays under control, and it every time I've been there, even like last year, it was just gorgeous. I love running through there. Well, let's get into this, man. Let's go ahead and I got out the crayon box and a pretty picture, and I made myself a little graphic here. So all of you at home watching this, bear with me here. If you're thinking we have a graphic team for the works behind the scenes, you're looking at him right here. So we don't have that kind of budget. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to explode it so that it covers the whole screen, and then you and I can just talk over here. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Lake of the Ozarks as a whole. And let me get to full screen. There we are. Basically, what we want to do is kind of break this thing down here for folks. And folks, the event that we have on the 6th and 7th, this whole event is being brought to you by Eco Fishing Shop. We are working with them. That's where the awards location is going to be. They are the event sponsor for this. Travis and his team are rolling out the red carpet, man. And we're so honored to be working with that group there in Camdenton. On top of that, as far as other local companies that we're working with, the Sleep Inn, and I want to give them a shout out, man, because you wouldn't normally expect a full hotel, for kayak anglers. We're known for a lot of camping and such, but I'll tell you what, guys, this area gets hit with so many tournaments there. It's rare that you'll find organizations that are willing to step up and help. And Sleep Inn said, yes, we want to host you guys. So they give us a good angler rate. Yeah. And they're setting up, so we wanted to give them a whole lot of props and shout out for that deal there in Camdenton.
Right.
So the very first thing that we'll get into here, we're going to talk about points of interest. And for you guys that are unaware of the lake, this is probably the biggest piece to know right out the gates, Bagnell Dam. You're going to hear James and myself talk about mile markers. Everything is measured from that dam, am I right, James, that runs all the way up to the Truman Dam.
Yes, we've got 92 miles from Bagnell Dam to Truman Dam is a 92 mile if you run the Osage,
yep,
from the dam.
That is amazing, 92 miles.
And then you've got the off creeks or off rivers like the Gravois, which is 12 miles long. You've got the Glaze Arm, which is about 10 miles arm, and then you got both the Nanguas, which the big Nangua goes all the way up through past Hahatonka, which is another 12 miles there. And so you've got a lot of water, a lot of different types of waters, and we always say like different arms here are really different lakes of their own. Really.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what we wanted to get into, because what's important here is like back in my boat days when I first started fishing Lake of the Ozarks in a bass boat, and if something wasn't working, I could motor up and grab my coffee and just hammer down and run 30 miles, and get to a different section. In a kayak, you don't have that luxury. Now, yes, we can trailer and move to another location, but that's time, that you're just wasting there. So you really want to do your homework and get to know these arms. So let's go ahead and the first piece here that we wanted to talk about is when people talk about the main lake, and you can see my super high-end drawing here of this big snake. That's the main lake. What are guys gonna see? Because we're gonna be still at a good time. The rec boaters won't be really out and about, hopefully, too bad in April.
Yeah.
And so what are guys and gals going to see when they get to the main lake here?
So the main lake and we'll say, main lake from, Bagnell Dam down to the toll bridge, it's kind of a section, that's about a 15-mile section. You're going to see a lot of open water, a lot of big rocks, a lot of points. a lot of bluff ends, a lot of really big bluff ends, old river channel bluffs that create points. Um, a lot of we call them ridges. They're long extended points that come out off
Yeah.
of the bank and run out into the lake. Maybe a couple hundred yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got mainly just a lot of points and bluff end points and things on that main lake.
And docks and all those little fingers, man. Docks until you can go blind on docks.
Thousands and thousands of docks. Now, a lot of your bluff end points and your bluffs, obviously, you don't have those docks.
Right.
And in April, the 1st of April, you're going to have fish, a lot of pre-spawners, big pre-spawners hanging out off these points, and even moving up on some of these bluffs. Just the straight bluff shelves can be really good in April.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. So that's your main lake stuff. We're going to go ahead and start up to the north here. And this, like you said, these are kind of their own little areas up here. The Gravois Arm, this thing is, you say it's about 12 miles. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say 12, maybe. Yeah, about 12, 13 miles.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And lots of cool offshoots there, man.
Yeah.
Soap Creek, Indian Creek, a lot of these coves that roll back in there are their own, little unique systems as well.
Exactly. And a lot of those, they're big. I'd almost call them creeks of their own, not necessarily feeder creeks, but because they're, some of them, Soap Creek, Mill Creek, Cedar Creek, Bogue, all of them, they're 2, 3, 4 miles long, some of them.
It's kind of deceiving on this map that, people understand just how big this water is, that's up there. But, and is, yeah.
And
yeah.
your Bagnell Dam down to the toll bridge, and then your Gravois Arm up to, if you can see, there's kind of a big creek up there. It's called Indian Creek.
Yep.
It kind of comes in. That's going to be your clearest water in the lake. That's going to be real clear, probably 4 to 6 foot of water visibility.
Wow.
So, that's going to be your fairly clearest water. So, stick baits are still going to be real good. Big spinner bait on these big points is a really, really productive way to catch some really big fish.
That's fun, man. That's
yes.
And that is one of the cool things about when you're fishing these points and you get anywhere near the main or these the big areas, dude. On any given swing at any given time, big old bug eye can show up and jump in the kayak with you for a quick picture.
Yeah.
And that's
the time of year you're going to catch the biggest fish you're going to catch is during the spawn pretty much pre-spawn fish. These big ones that are just moving up, they're going to be your biggest fish.
That's exciting, man. That's exciting. All right, so let's move out of the Gravois. We come down here. This has been the next one is kind of the area that I've spent maybe the most time in myself. The Grand Glaze Arm down here. Yep. One of the coolest things that I will say about this is where PB2 is at. All the big boat tournaments launch out of there.
Right.
But one of the coolest things about the Grand Glaze is, to me, it is the of what I've found so far, it's the most natural, fewest number of docks, and it's the most just, natural cover and structure out there.
Yeah, it's not all of it, but the majority of it is state park. So it's undeveloped. You've got some development over there towards the Osage Beach side. But once you head up the glaze, you've got a few creeks or coves that have a few homes in it, but like you said, the majority of it is still natural.
I'll tell you what, man, there was one year with my boat, I followed it I was using that Atlas jack plate to its fullest extent, and I went way shallow up in there, and I couldn't believe it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, you kind of kind of got to know where you're going and really pay attention. There's some big flats once you get up above Laura, um, by the Army camp up there.
Yep.
It'll kind of fool you. It look like it's pretty deep, but it's not.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome stuff.
Yep.
And does that one tend to be, I can tell you that if we have storms anywhere around the tournament time, that's going to be a muddy area further down that, because I've seen that myself a few times.
Right. Way up the glaze is a lot like any river arm. Obviously, you'll get a lot of stained water.
Yep.
And it's especially if we have these big, heavy downpours like we normally get in March, 1st of April. Yes, it will. But normally it's a good green, just a real, we call it Ozark green, just a kind of a stained, 2-foot visibility, 2.5, 3-foot visibility for the most part.
It always has a special place in my heart, because of all the places, of all the arms, I've spent most time in there, and I love flipping docks, I really do. But I also love what the glaze offered. There was quite a bit to go see down there.
Right, and it does offer little creeks, little feeder creeks,
yeah,
a lot of bluffs in there, and then of course the glaze river channel winds through. The glaze arm, and once you get higher up in the glaze, obviously those river channels are more defined. If you want to follow that river channel and kind of stay with it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving along here after the Grand Glaze, let's go to the big one, man. This is the one that there are some miles and miles of water to take a look at here. The main Osage River arm. This, if you follow it all the way to the west, it takes you right to Truman.
Right.
Right there. So that's the one that runs right by Sunrise Beach there.
Yes, it actually runs through. It starts right there at Camdenton, and then it runs all the way up through Greenview, Sunrise Beach, Gravois. You go all the way, like you said, all the way up to Warsaw.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there is there's one up in there somewhere, Turkey Creek, I think.
Turkey Creek, yeah, you've got several. Once you turn the corner there, we call it the four-way. You got Lynn Creek, Nianguas, coming from the Glaze Arm and then going up the Osage. Once you turn there, that's kind of what we consider the river. There's a Hurricane Deck Bridge up there, which is the 35-mile marker. Once you get above that, that's kind of what we consider the river, nice. if you're headed to the river, and then you can see you've got a lot of big creeks, that feed in. You got Bollinger, you've got Cartwright, Proctor's a big one. A lot of people hear about Proctor. Then you got Deer, Turkey, all of them, Pearson. There's just several of them throughout that, and just like the Gravois, those are almost lakes of their own.
Right.
And what makes a difference is the way, like when we get these big rain, and the way them rain storms move through the lake area, it's really kind of odd. A lot of times it'll go across the northern part of the lake, which will take in, we'll say, from the 40-mile marker up to Warsaw. And then if you look how the lake lays, it goes across the Gravois arm. And that
right.
You'll have a lot of runoff in those particular creeks, which will dirty it up, change the water temperature, a lot of different things. And then your other end of the lake, that south end, won't get any rain, no rain.
Wow.
So it's really kind of odd. And if you really pay attention and you work like where the runoff is coming in, it can really pay off sometimes.
That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. And isn't that the key, is that perception, right? It's just paying attention to what's going on out there and understanding how these sections of the lake as a whole, how they react to it.
Right.
It takes time to really lock that in, but this is just like gold of information
Yep.
that you're sharing here, man. This is awesome stuff. Well, let's move to the name that I continue to murder nonstop here. The Niangua, is that correct?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
Nangwa on there, and there's a big and little Nangwas.
Yep. The entrance is right here, like you said, right from that four-way right there.
Right.
The Niagara arm starts right there, and then she splits into a pair of them. You got which one is up first? The
Yeah,
little
the
one.
little
Yep.
Nangwa cuts off to the right about 4, maybe 5 miles from the four-way.
Gotcha.
And then that goes to the right, and then that heads on up. And that's fairly narrow, but it runs all way up in there a ways, and it becomes a little river, basically a lake of its own too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you got the big Niagara arm, which is more connected directly to it. That runs all the way down, past Camdenton and those areas down there,
Right,
right?
and that's the one that is fed, of course, by the Niagara River, but it also gets a lot of water from Tonka Spring. So that water generally will be really warm or a lot warmer because it kind of gets a boost throughout the winter. That water's coming in out of mid-50s out of that spring.
Yep.
And it rolls in there, and it definitely will affect that arm sometimes when you have these cold winters and the lake's really cold. This year, we don't have that. But that water up the Big Niangua will definitely be several degrees warmer than a lot of the other lake.
How developed is the Niangua arm in general, Little Big and the main there? How developed, like say, in comparison to the Grand Glaze? Is it similar to docks or?
Yeah, it's got quite a few. The Big Niangua, it's fairly developed. The Little Niangua, I mean, it's getting pretty developed also. There's a lot of docks, but there are still some open sections.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bluff walls and such, mainly on the main lake is where
Yes.
you're going to find those, right?
Right.
But,
all main lake bluffs, and then of course, some of your feeder creeks. The Big Niangua doesn't have a whole lot. If you look at that, it just does not have a lot of big feeder creeks to it. And the same with the Little Niangua. They're kind of smaller. I'm going to say smaller river arms.
right.
And they just don't really have the big major feeder creeks like the Osage or the Gravois has.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome stuff, man. I mean, it is a big body of water. It can be kind of daunting, obviously, for kayak anglers. Focus on your strength. What are your strengths? And then do your research, get out your Google Earth, go to work, and try to look for one of those arms, one of those sections there. And that kind of helps you, lock it in.
Absolutely. And that time of year, you guys are going to hit it perfect. Whatever your strong point is in fishing, you can concentrate on that the 1st of April. You can fish main lake with spinner baits, glide baits, swim baits. You can go up one of these river arms and flip shallow. You can drag Carolina rig everywhere. You get way up the river arms. Those fish are going to be up in there spawning already. So you get up in there, throw shaky heads on these pea gravel little pockets, spawning banks. I mean, it's going to be wide open. Whatever somebody wants to do, you can pick an area of the lake and definitely go do that. And anywhere on that lake in April, 1st of April, can win any tournament.
And you can back me up on this or correct me on it, but I will say one of the friendliest places that I have ever been able to fish has been around Lake of the Ozarks. Fishing is and especially competitive fishing, but just fishing in general is a part of life there to the towns and the people there. So when anglers come into town, it's not like some new thing to these towns. They're used to the traffic and they're welcoming, man, to outdoorsmen, outdoors folks and to anglers. I absolutely love that when communities, are there to embrace, that, hey man, we're here just to boost the economy and have a good time and enjoy what, the beautiful lake you guys have there.
And you're right. The Lake of the Ozarks, in general, is just a welcoming place, environment. The amount of restaurants we have here.
Oh man.
There's a few chain, but obviously we steer people to the privately owned restaurants. You get such a variety, whether it be high end steaks or barbecue or smoked meats or you name it. We have it down here, and like you said, the owners are very welcoming and obviously like seeing the tourism coming in town.
So I got two comments here. I have been there in Osage Beach. I've stayed there several times. And even though it's a small chain, that one there in Osage Beach, I'll tell you what, dude, every time I go there, I have to hit this up. That Bandana's barbecue is tough to beat, man.
Bandana's is one of the best. Obviously, if I had to take a chain restaurant, I would say Bandana's.
Right. What's a good non-chain? You got another one to go to for on the barbecue side?
Oh yeah, on the Osage Beach side, you've got Wobbly Boots. It's hard to beat Wobbly Boots. Their barbecue, very very good. And then you get into on the west side, you got the Branding Iron. There's smoked meats, barbecue, just nice. A variety of things. You get up further in Lori, Red's Barbecue. And then you've got an assortment of really good breakfast places. What's that? Nice. RJ, right? Yeah, RJ's in Camdenton. Man, there's just so many.
You can't go wrong, right? I mean,
yeah, you can't. Yeah, Stewart's is a big one. And then of course on the strip down there's a lot of great places. There's Casablanca and then Alley Cats for pizza. You're not going to beat their pizzas.
Nice.
Just it's wide open. You got just everything.
And everything's relatively. I mean, when you're talking Sunset Beach to Camdenton to Osage, I mean, we're not talking a far distance here. It's a 30 minute run, and you're anywhere you want to be, really.
Oh, right, absolutely. Within 20 minutes, you can be on the majority of the lake.
Yeah. Because of the way it all winds out like that, you can find. You and I were talking off camera here, and we were talking a little bit about the public accesses around. There's a ton of them available to folks out there. What advice would you have on that for public access?
For public access, starting down at the dam, there's a little community ramp at the 2 mile marker. I apologize, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it's right at the 2 mile marker. So that puts you down there around the dam. You've got Kaufman, which is just up inside of the Gravois, about 3 miles into the Gravois. That's Kaufman Beach. That's a public access. You get at the tail end of Gravois. If you want to fish that upper river, you've got Gravois Mills access. That's going to put you anywhere you might want to be in the Gravois.
Yep.
Then you've got around the 12 mile marker, you've got Shawnee Bend access, which is a public access, great, parking, everything. Then you get down to the Glaze. Obviously, everyone knows PB2.
Yep.
Which is just inside the Glaze, about 2 miles. And then you've got PB1, which is up inside the Glaze, about 6-8 miles up the Glaze. So that's going to put you up in that arm, of the Glaze. Then you start as far as public access. Then you up in the Nangwa arm, you've got Larry Gale, which is up in the Big Nangwa. And then once you head up the Osage at the Hurricane Deck Bridge, you've got a public access there. You've got a big resort there at the 34-mile marker called Red Oak Resort. They have a ramp there. It's a public ramp. There's a fee. Public ramp. That would also be a great place for any of your kayakers to stay. It's kind of back in there, a big no-wake creek. A lot of tournaments go out there. It's real nice to launch in that area. That one's at 34-mile marker. And then once you head on up the Osage, you've got Station 46. That's a public access. He has a public ramp, that's at the 46-mile marker, obviously. Then you've got Browns Bend, public access. That's at the 62. You've got in the back of Proctor, which is 55. There's a public access there. Then once you head on up,
James, I got to tell you right out the gates, dude, your memory is freaking astounding. Because I'm like, there's one that way, and then there's another one over here.
These are all ramps. Obviously, we use when we're picking up customers.
Sure.
Obviously, we like a lot of times they want to be picked up at their docks or their resorts or fish a certain area of the lake. So obviously, we just pull the boat and put in at one of these ramps.
That's awesome.
And we'll keep on going up because I know guys like to fish that river. At the 66, it's called Wigwam. That's a public access. We put in there just the other day. And then once you get on up to Warsaw, you've got Drake Harbor, which is almost actually at Warsaw. So there's a variety of ramps, and I probably overlooked a couple of them, but those are our big primary ramps. That's plenty parking, easy access, for anybody to put in.
Heck yeah, man. And that's we were talking beforehand. With the All American Kayak Series, our rules are very simple. Because we want to promote some of the advantages of being on the kayak side of things. We don't do a set list of launch points. We allow any public access. So as long as you don't have to cross private or restricted, property of any kind, you are good to go. Campsites don't count as that, just because if the campsite's full, not anybody can launch from that campsite.
I see. So if it's a resort,
as long as it's open to the public, then it's totally good. It can be a pay launch. That's fine. As long as anybody and any public can launch from it. Yeah, we're totally good.
Yeah, because a lot of the resorts down here, they're resorts, private resorts, but they have boat ramps and they allow access, obviously for a fee, but it's a public access.
Yeah, and some of those can really get you where you want to go with with on the kayaking side, where you don't have too long of a travel to get to one place or another.
Right.
So pretty handy. We were talking about Osage Beach, Sunset Beach. One of the cool things that I really like about when you're looking at the restaurants and the businesses in that neck of the woods, one of the things there about Missouri and that whole Lake of the Ozarks area that I really appreciate and respect, some of the parking can be a little tricky, especially you guys that are going to be coming in with trailers. Be aware that if you're going downtown or something, the parking lots will get a little tricky, but it's because they don't destroy the land when they put these places in. They work with the rocks in the land, so some of the parking lots can get a little goofy, going around. I personally love it because it's like we're working with Mother Nature here, not wiping her out just so we can have our fruit stand. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like that you see a lot of those areas that some of the parking lots. I know Bandanas has got a section of that parking lot that you get in there with a trailer, you might as well just bring a can opener with you, because I'm not sure you're going to get it out of there.
Bandanas, you're right. I was thinking the other one there. What was the other one? Wobbly Boots. They've kind of got a section, and you'll see it down here. A lot of these restaurants kind of cater to boating and boats, and they put in a section of parking just for truck and trailers, because a lot of people come off for water, and first thing they want to do is go grab a bite to eat.
Heck yeah. It's going back to what we were talking about. It's a very welcoming area out there for the amount of tournaments that go off, through that fishery. and for the health that it continues to
Yep.
demonstrate every year is just so there's so much that could be learned. I think, like our state here could learn so much by watching how things are managed there,
Yeah.
and
And,
working through that.
obviously, fish conservation is very, very important down here, and the Missouri Conservation does a great job. I guess you'd call managing it,
Yeah.
and giving recommendations. A lot of your big tournaments have release boats. A lot of them, the fish are immediately put back in the water.
Yep.
Obviously, the kayaks. I really like the way you guys do your, take a picture and let them go.
It's called catch photo release. We get the picture, get it measured,
that is
boom,
a
back
really,
in the water.
really concept. Absolutely.
Yep.
Mm.
And it helps too because we go off of off length, not off weight. And so, it's a full length on the board. It's the picture is geotagged with our GPS location, and
Yeah.
that allows the judges to know that the fish is on legal waters and everything's good to go with that.
I see. Yeah.
The software helps kind of determine a lot of the other integrity pieces of the catch. And yeah, man, it's
And I can see that in the future, maybe catching on to some of these, tournament organizations. If the kayaks can do it, I really don't see why some of these bigger tournaments couldn't also do that.
There's been a lot of those conversations out there to say when people are talking about how would we do this, how would we do that. Man, look around in the fishing industry. There's people already doing this stuff. There's ways you can work this out. And there will always be an integrity check, right? I mean, you're always going to have that piece, but
especially April and May month down here, I've always been a big component of. I'd be okay not fishing for fish on the beds, but if you catch a fish and you put him right back, he's going right back to the bed, compared to hauling him, 20, 30 miles down the lake.
I'm so glad to hear somebody with your experience say that, because I've said that several times before too, is that, the chances of that fish returning to the bed after that quick, photo session with us is really, really high. Obviously, no one's done any studies on it. I mean, trying to convince states to spend money on fishery, study is like pulling teeth.
Right.
But clearly, you pull them from this area, they're back in the water in this area. They're not getting taken for a 10-mile run. They're not living in a live well. The other thing that really helps is if you gill them, the fact that we can get them back in the water so quickly, man, they heal themselves in most cases, because it's that passing that water through helps, lock things up for them and keep them a lot safer.
Obviously, we do all we can with fish care. But there's no better care than getting those fish back into their natural habitat as quick as possible.
Heck yeah, man. I love hearing that for sure. So, folks at home, for those of you that are listening to this only on the audio side, it's James Dill Guide Service, okay, out of Lake of the Ozarks area there. 573-204-9005 is the number to call to book your trip with them. J. Dill Bass, as in James Dill Bass at gmail.com. You can send him an email there to get set up. Go check out the website. I love the website, the pictures, man. Those are some happy folks out there. It's jamesdillguideservice.com. Brother, I can't thank you. And I know Denise is hiding right over there. Thank you very much, Denise.
It's kind of hard on our camera here.
There she is.
There she is. Yeah. So, we're both, full-time guides. Denise is a retired teacher, so she's very good with the educational aspect, whether it be kids or wives or someone just getting into fishing.
Stubborn old farts, out there.
Right. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But no, if anybody wants to get a hold of us, we'll do all we can to design a trip around what you'd like, to get here on the Ozarks, whether it just be learning or catching fish, bass, crappie, whatever it is. We do our best to give you a trip of what you'd like to get out of it.
And this is it's a great thing to cap on. We do a lot of work with our nation's warfighters with my nonprofit which is why this podcast exists. And one of the things, little getaways, affordable, reasonable getaways. And Lake of the Ozarks is a great place. There are so many affordable resorts and places that people can go. But what better way to cap it off? Go stay at one of these resorts, enjoy the good food, and get a hold of James Dill Guide Service and get yourself a trip booked in there at the same time, man. That would be an awesome deal for some folks to go check out.
Yep, we have a lot of fun, on all of our trips, and then obviously the lake is a lot of fun. When you're here, we can give you recommendations for restaurants, whatever it is. If it's a steak restaurants, barbecue, seafood, whatever it is. We know all the restaurants around here. We know the good ones. We can save you a little trouble.
Right.
Going to one and maybe not. And then also the same thing with resorts. We recommend a lot of different resorts, depending on where someone's wanting to stay or what arm of the lake they would like to fish. We can recommend a resort in that area.
And having a local contact, man, that's a huge thing when you have somebody that knows the place, right? I mean, there's only so much research you can do, and when I've gone into town there, every time I've been in there, I've been on a mission. That is to try to catch fish. So,
right.
I don't get a chance to take in as much of, the area as you'd want. So yeah, having a resource like you guys out there, that would be fantastic stuff for folks.
And we don't mind a text. If you're not even calling for a trip, if you text us or call us and email us and say, hey, I'm coming down. I would like a list of some resorts, or what do you recommend here, this, that. We have no problem with helping people out with that. We've got several great tackle stores here at the lake. So if you're looking for the hot baits here, we've got several really, really good quality tackle stores here at the lake.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff.
And we also have, while I'm thinking of it, Denise and I do a weekly fishing report on YouTube down here. So before they come, any of your guys kayaking or any throughout the year, and it's on YouTube. And once you get on YouTube, you just plug in Crocogator, no dashes, CROCK.
You work with the Crocogator folks over there?
Yeah, we actually, Denise and I own Crocogator, and we sold it about 2 years ago.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes. So we had it for a little over 10 years. And then, obviously once we set up that YouTube page, it was under Crocogator. But like I said, we put up a pretty detailed weekly fishing report on Lake of the Ozarks on Crocogator on the YouTube.
So it's CROCOGATOR?
Yes.
Am I doing that right?
Yeah, CROCKO Gator. That's it, up our YouTube.
Crocogator at YouTube for fishing report. So we'll do this. Let me add this in here real quick. Bada bing. There we go. Crocogator at YouTube. That is so cool that you guys had Crocogator in. Because I know several of the guys on the Crocogator team, man. That's there's a lot of anglers, really good anglers that are on that team for sure.
Absolutely, yes.
Mm-hmm. They swear by those buzz baits and some of those soft plastics that y'all have.
The buzz bait probably put Crocogator on the map. It's back in the 80s is when it was developed, but obviously along with all the other products it has now. But you're right, that buzz bait goes all across the country and catches them.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Chad Davison, Jared, those boys, they do some damage. They've taken a lot of my lunch money with that thing. I'll tell you that much.
We got Lance Burris down here. He's quite the kayak tournament angler for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome stuff. Yeah. Well, listen, do you go by Jim or James? Which do you prefer?
Either one. I'm going to answer to both. So.
Gotcha. If you're like me, it's like those are the most friendly things you can call me.
Right, exactly. I've been called a lot worse. So if you call me either one of them, that's just fine.
Well, listen, James, I can't thank you and Denise enough for sharing some time with us here and sharing your amazing knowledge with the All American Kayak Series group. This is some good juice here for anglers that have been here before, but also for anglers that are going to be traveling in. We are by every sense of the word, we're a national series. I mean, we do stay in the Midwest. We'll go from like northern Wisconsin down to Texas, and we just don't go too far west. We don't go too far east. We stay right in the Midwest area here.
Gotcha.
But it's, we've got a big contingency coming out of Minnesota, out of Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska. Colorado is going to be representing several anglers out there this year. And of course, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, coming from all around. And so we're excited for this Lake of the Ozarks event. We think it's going to be a big one. And hopefully, like you said,
it will. You're picking probably one of the best weekends, spring weekends, that first one of April. You guys are going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have a blast down here.
This is one of the advantages of our organization, the All-American, being run by and owned by Joshua Booth. Joshua Booth is one of the OGs of our sport, man, and he knows the areas, the good times, and he's meticulously, when he goes through these schedules, man, it looks like a mad scientist at work on that calendar. It's all these connected, you've seen those crime shows where they got the yarn attaching pictures and stuff. That's pretty much what Josh does at night, trying to find dates that are going to work for everything, and so this is, I'm excited.
There's not a whole lot. Is there anything else going on in that first weekend of April down here that you guys should have? It should be really good.
That's all awesome. Around. That's awesome. All righty, folks, definitely go check them out at James Dill Guide Service. Give James and Denise a ring, 573-204-9005. Send them an email at jdillbass@gmail.com or check out the website, jamesdillguideservice.com. Thank you guys again so very much. We appreciate you taking the time. If you hang out with me here, as soon as I wrap this up here, we'll set up after we're all done with the recording here.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you.
You betcha. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Lake of the Ozarks. You don't want to miss this stuff, man. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be one heck of an event. I'm stoked to get down there. I just wish I was going to be able to fish it with you, but, being the event manager for this one is going to be a ton of fun. Eco Fishing Shop, man. Travis and that team over there, go check them out. Eco Fishing Shop is the presenting with this. Sleep In. If you're looking, they've given an angler rate to it. Very nice hotel. Huge props. Loving those guys for being willing to work with the All-American out there and to put that all together. As always, folks, subscribes, watches, all that good stuff. And the follows, that's a massive way to help us out there. And as always, tight lines and be safe.